Sweep, sweep, sweep. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another post game here on METS Central. And oh, it's so beautiful to talk about just a belt to ass 3-game series versus the Phillies. Every second of it, and I was waiting to open my mouth about it, every second of it was so beautiful. I hope they do this in September to them in their own ballpark, because holy crap, nothing would warm my heart more than watching them fold on their home turf and listening to their fans get so pissed off in that building in September. Man, what a beautiful 3-game series here. Find a way to cut this thing down to 3 games, hopefully between now and that September series. And I like the odds because you earned the tiebreaker tonight. The thing I'll say, okay, for the Mets side of things, just to get back on track before talking absolute shit here, okay? I need to see this after the Phillies leave town now, and you do this against the Marlins. I need to see you continue this type of effort for me to really be in fully to the full degree, because there is something to be said about how the Mets might just outright own this team. There is something to be said about how at Citi Field, at the very least, the Mets just own the Phillies. So I need to see this build into the next series. But as for this, it's so beautiful. It just was freaking awesome. This was the most 2024 vibes, these 3 games, we've got all season. 100%, right? Like, no one's disagreeing. And where do we start? Because I want to do a bit of the trash talking here, which, before we jump into everything, leave a like, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live on the channel, because there's going to be a podcast as well. But all I could sit here and say, it's awesome seeing Phillies fans online trying to sit here and accuse the Mets of cheating. I have dreamed of this day my entire life where the Mets get accused of cheating. What a beautiful day this is. No, let me just tell you what happened, okay? Your team sucks, and your team is fragile, because I watch Alec Boehm complain about a microphone this weekend. I watch Bryce Harper go into the box with Mets cleats and Mets gloves on in the first game. I watch Jesus Luzardo almost get tossed in the first inning of yesterday's game. Then he got tossed in the 5th inning. And I watched Taijuan Walker whine that Brett Beatty's in the way of his view or whatever. So, he has to stand in the on-deck circle. What a bunch of losers they are. What a soft team. Truthfully, I'd be ashamed to root for that team. Believe me, I have a hockey team that is just like that. I would be so embarrassed being a fan of that club. It's just awesome. But they're accusing the Mets of cheating this week. Oh, I love that so much. I love every second of this. Now let's talk about what's at hand, though. How about Noah McClain shoving 8 innings, 6 Ks, no walks? The thing that was so special about what McClain did tonight, there are 2 things. One, the thing that I've wanted to see from him that he's been a victim of in previous starts, I wanted to see him get ahead in counts more, because I didn't like how much he was falling behind at certain points and how much it was, forcing him to get into some of these full counts or forcing him into 2-1 counts where he's got to make these perfect pitches. Tonight, he was getting ahead in the count way more. I'd have to fact check how many times, but it at least felt like he was ahead more times than not. And the second biggest thing that he did tonight that was so special is watching the way that he went out there in that 8th inning and threw the ball, doing what an ace would do. Because he allows back-to-back singles. So you get runners on the corners with no outs. How will you respond? And back-to-back flyouts from Castellanos and Stott, which Alec Boehm sucks so much. I don't know if the Cookie Monster was scaring him behind the plate or what, which maybe he was in the field too. But they didn't send him on either one. He probably would have been gunned out on either one, to be honest with you. But then he gets a ground ball from Bader and keeps the game at bay, keeps the Phillies at a 0. We have not seen this type of stuff. And I hate saying this because I don't want to make it sound like I'm comparing him to DeGrom. But we haven't seen this since DeGrom, where you have a pitcher who gets into trouble. No frustration, no meltdown, just calm, cool, collected, and gets out of it. It's so beautiful. And the biggest thing, the other things, I mean, there's so many things to talk about with Nolan McLean's start. Seeing him go through the order the third time the way that he did as well, I wanted to see him get Trey to start the 9th inning because Trey was already 0 for 3. I wanted to go batter by batter when you're up by 6 runs, and I get the pitch count was a little high, so they wanted to end him on that, and, he did get into trouble in the last inning. I wanted to at least see what he would have done in that 9th inning. But I understand. I'm not going to ridicule Mendoza for the decision. I get it, ultimately. You don't want to test your luck too much, and, you don't want to shoot the kid's confidence if he gets into trouble. I get that. But the strikeouts tonight, too. Oh, my goodness. That sweeper to Trey Turner to start the game. The curveballs. There were Bryce Harper's bats flying all night from how filthy he is. It's special to watch this guy pitch. And you still have Joe Natong, who's going to pitch on Friday. Oh my goodness, it's beautiful. I can't freaking wait. 13 whiffs on 47 swings from McLean. And he kept the pitch count low for a majority of this game as well, mind you. Mad. And then the offense. I would have liked for them to jump a little bit more on Taijuan Walker. But in the bottom of the 3rd inning, they did what they needed to. Brett Baty with a double. How about Hayden Senger? Bunting there. Taijuan Walker can't field it. What a loser he is. Sorry. Just responding to something. But, yeah. How about that bunt there? Hayden Senger. Gonna tell my grandkids about him one day. And I was thinking too, and I'm usually anti-bunt. I'm like, this is the one spot where I could accept it. You get the leadoff double, just take the bunt, move Baty to 3rd. And he ends up being safe at 1st, getting a bunt hit. Lindor and Soto back-to-back singles. Pete gets a single. And how about Soto stealing another bag as well on JT Realmuto, who's one of the better catchers in the league defensively. And I would have liked for them to really, dig their grave a little more here in this inning. But Nimmo strikes out. Vientos hits into a double play, which he made up for later. Because in the 5th inning, I mean, he made up for it twice, honestly. In the 5th inning, Lindor starts it with a single. Alonso walks. Nimmo gets a single, and Vientos 4-0 with a single. And then how about the defense, too? Harrison Bader almost going yard back-to-back nights, which would have frustrated the ever-living piss out of me. But Jeff McNeil robbing him at the wall. And then Vientos hitting a 2-run shot in the 7th to really put this thing to bed. Off Tanner Banks, too, who is one of the better relievers for the Phillies. and he absolutely tanked it. If you're getting the Mark Vientos that we saw last year, if you're getting that down the stretch here, that changes everything, like I've been saying for weeks, because all of a sudden this lineup gets a lot deeper. And it sucks too that Alvarez got hit on the hand, because could you imagine that they had both Vientos and Alvarez, who Alvarez was on fire too, Vientos on fire. Imagine both of them in the bottom of this lineup really providing length. It was so beautiful to watch this. 5 for 8 with runners in scoring position. But no, the Mets were cheating, guys. That's what the Phillies fans said. So obviously they're cheating. 10 straight losses for the Phillies at Citi Field. And you know what I was saying to Matt as we left the second game? I was saying, how beautiful would it be if the Phillies were victims of what we were victims to in 2022? How beautiful would it be if we pulled in Atlanta Braves to them? I don't want to get too ahead there, because you still have the series in September to get through. And unfortunately, you're not playing that at Citi Field. Otherwise, I'd be very, very confident right now. But you have a 4-game set against them in September. And I want to see how that plays out first. But how beautiful would it be if they found a way to do that? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I would love it. Just beautiful baseball play. And again, now they have to show it against the Marlins, because truthfully, I'm more scared right now of the Marlins, at least at Citi Field. More scared of the Marlins, which that's a 4-game set as well. And, we'll cross that bridge when we get there on the podcast. But another series, you got to win that. You got to win that, especially because, again, you got to make up for what you did in DC. Have to. But right now, they're giving me a feeling that I have not had all season long. And that's the part that really just makes me happy. And they're proving me wrong as of right now. And again, it has to build. But the thing that I've been saying is, I don't believe in you. Prove me wrong. Rope me back in. Make me look stupid. And I would love to eat my words, because it does not matter what you did in the past few months. If you find a way to turn this thing around when it matters the most. Now it's a matter of building on this. And if you do lose, it's a matter of going to the ballpark the next day, because they're going to lose again at some point. Unfortunately, that's what happens in baseball. But the biggest thing that's going to test me and tell me enough is, when they lose their next game, how will they respond? Because this team all year has not responded after a loss. That's going to tell me a lot. But this was the most 2024-esque series of the season thus far. And this is the point. It felt like more of a complete effort. The runners in scoring position. The starting pitching still wasn't as sharp, but you have Noah McLean now to look forward to. You have Jonah Tong, which we'll see how he does, but you have him to look forward to. Better from the bullpen. Ryan Helsley's still an issue, but better. McLean is one of the nastiest pitchers I've seen too. There's a reason I'm rocking the Oklahoma State McLean jersey right now. I would. This would be beautiful. I don't blame you if you're saying that you're back in. I have to wait, because I've bit the bait too many times to where I have to wait. But I respect you being back in. Go handle the Marlins. This did feel like October all series long. It really felt like that. which was exciting. Now, if we could do this all September, that's what matters. Let's hope we get the same from Tong. Yes, 1 billion%. Because if you get this from Tong, all of a sudden, you don't have to rely on the bullpen as much. Not to put pressure on the kid, but there is pressure on the kid. Because Manaya, Senga, not giving you the length you need. Holmes gave you it last time. We'll see if it builds. Peterson, but all of a sudden, if you have 4 guys that could give you some volume between Holmes giving you, I don't know how much he'll build on it, but if you could get, 6 innings from him, maybe a little over 5 consistently, I'll take it. Peterson's going to give you the volume more times than not. Now McLean, and if Tong could do it, that changes everything. And yeah, Citi Field is a house of horrors right now. Just like when we go to Atlanta, both of you guys saying it here. Yeah. Yeah, Bohm messed up that ground ball from Pete because of the Cookie Monster being behind the plate. Ron Darwin said Keith will need 2 bodyguards when he goes in the Philly. Yeah, because he called them overrated. I was scared that was gonna bite them in the ass, but maybe the Phillies just, I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to speak. I don't want to say what I was going to. I don't want to be. I don't want to instigate more than I already have. I already feel uncomfortable when I do it, unless it's like a playoff series win. But it was so beautiful. Bryce Harper trying to take out guys in the dugout, huh? Yeah, or Syndergaard vibes, which obviously ended sour, but just from when it happened. Importantly, the Mets have the tiebreaker. Just close the gap. Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's the games with the Tigers and Cubs on the road that will show what the Mets got. That too, I do want to see good play on the road, which, because apparently the Mets are cheating, like we talked about all episode. So they really got to show on the road what they could do. Yeah, Bryce Harper wearing his rivalry pack or whatever the fuck it's called. Please, please. That would piss me off. Like, that would genuinely make my blood boil so much if it was the other way around. Like, if Lindor was walking up to the plate with red batting gloves, red and blue cleats, or, like a little bit of green for the fanatic, I'd be so pissed off. And I appreciate a respectful Phillies fan being in here. With that said, I'm going to wrap things up here. There will be a podcast coming up tomorrow, and I can't wait for that to talk about this series. It's been a minute since we got to get hyped on a podcast episode. So thank you everyone for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live, and we'll see you guys in the next one.